Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Roger Peterson with the Wendell Chamber of Commerce, and we're honored to have you here tonight. We're honored to be here at Wake Tech Eastern Campus. If you haven't been here before, I hope you've had a chance to look around a little bit. It's a beautiful campus, and we're very thankful that Wake Tech is allowing us to be here tonight. I'm not going to talk long because we have other people you want to hear from more than me. The Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Committee has actually put this event together, so I'm going to turn it over to the chair of our Government Affairs Committee, Caleb Sanderson.
Everyone, thanks for coming out tonight. We're very excited to be able to host this. Back in February of 24, the board got together in our strategic retreat to really think about not just the year ahead, but really the next 5 to 10 years that we're going to have as a chamber. One of the things that came out of that is advocating for our members and the business community at large. With that advocacy pillar came about the Government Affairs Committee. So since the start of that, we started having town talks quarterly where we bring our mayor and the town manager together to talk with our business community. We've hosted an elected officials reception, and now we're having a candidates forum. So this is quite literally 20 months in the making, and we're very excited to be able to do this tonight. So it is my great pleasure to introduce your moderator for tonight. Andy Curtis is the Government Affairs Manager for WakeNet Health and Hospital. Andy's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about how tonight's going to go.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to say that I am grateful for the opportunity that the Chamber has given me to be a part of this process, and I really want to thank Wake Tech for hosting us tonight as well. And I want to say to the candidates that as an elected official, the work is not always easy. It's rewarding, but maybe not always as easy. So I give all of you kudos for stepping up and putting your name in the hat. So thank you for that. So with that, I'll start telling you a little bit about the format tonight. So we will begin with a 1-minute opening statement for each of the candidates. The speaking order was determined by a drawing out of names, so it's random. Then we'll go through a series of 8 questions. And 3 weeks ago, we got together with the candidates, and they provided a question that they would like to talk about. So we'll start with those questions. And then after that, each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer other questions, 8 other questions, and again, we'll kind of move down the line. And if you'll notice in front or on with the candidates, we have little Wendell Chamber chips. So after a question is answered, they can use the chip to comment then on that question as well. And they have 4, so we'll be counting. So how many extra chips do you have? All right. So, and they're allowed, I think we did this before, we talked about it, but you can use 1 chip, 1 time, 1 question. So also for the closing statements following that, the candidates have also each their names in a hat, so that order is random. And I wanted to let y'all know that we worked really hard to make sure that this forum was fair and respectful of our candidates and their time. So if y'all can help us, we would love to make sure that we're valuing their time and moving along so we can use the most of that time. If you could keep your applause till the end of the forum, that would be great. We're also streaming this, and so we want to make sure that everybody here and online can hear the candidates as they're answering those questions. So we will get started. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, great. Well, we'll get started, and I'm going to start down here.
Well, as a wise man once said, you ain't first or last. I'm Dustin Ingalls, and I'm running to keep Wendell an affordable place where everyone can afford to thrive. I moved here 4 years ago in search of an affordable house. I was shut out in Raleigh, but I was welcomed in Wendell. And that's a lot of people's stories. We have a regional shortage of housing to meet the demand for people coming to the Triangle and young people wanting to start a family. I'm glad the door wasn't slammed in my face when I came here, and I don't want to slam it at anyone else's. We're the small town with big charm, and I want to make sure we act like it. Our businesses need customers to get off the ground and to thrive. In many ways, we need growth to preserve our history and make sure our downtown doesn't crumble. The question is not whether we grow, but how we grow. And I'm committed to making sure we make the right land use choices so we don't waste any land or knock down more trees than we have to find a place for everyone who wants to call Wendell home and everyone who wants to do business here.
Thank you. Next, we have Kate Benson.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. I just kind of wanted to start off by saying kudos to you all, because you being here and you're watching online means that you are taking charge of being an informed voter, and that is so important. I'm Kate Benson. I am so proud to be running for town commissioner. I am a mom of 3. I'm the wife of a small business owner, and I love Wendell. I love everything about what this community is, how it gives back to my family, and how I can give back to it. We are at such a pivotal time in Wendell's history right now, so I want to make sure that the leadership that is on the board is making decisions with a holistic mind view, and also doing so transparently and considerately. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dane Zietman, and I've had the pleasure of serving as one of your town commissioners for the last 4 years. And I'm asking for the opportunity to continue that service. Over the last 4 years, a lot of change has happened in Wendell. That's not a surprise to any of you. Some of it has been really, really exciting, and some of it's been really challenging. But I've had the real pleasure to spend a lot of time showing up consistently to really do the hard behind-the-scenes work with my colleagues on the board and with our world-class town staff to ensure that we make the growth and the change that's happening in our community benefit everybody who lives here, everyone who's lived here in the past, and really invest those resources back into our town, into our infrastructure, into our town staff, and ensure that we have a wonderful quality of life that brought so many of us here. We've made great investments, from our bond investments to our expansions of town staff in the last 4 years. We look forward to continuing that work going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Travis.
Good evening. I'm Phil Tarnansky, former town commissioner running again. I've lived in Wendell 45 years. When I moved here, I was in the 5th grade at Wendell Elementary. And after East Wake, I actually went to Wake Tech and graduated from there, and been doing it in the construction field for 40 years. So I have a lot of experience in building, new construction, and how things are laid out and how it works. Looking forward again to running and being a voice for the people of Wendell, anyone with their concerns. I like to go with the people, and also the concerned residents and citizens about where they live and what they want. So I'd like to ask for your vote again. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Wes Jones, and I'm running to keep Wendell safe, thriving, and beautiful. As a business, government, and property attorney, I'd like to offer my experience, my passion, my work ethic, and my training to serve you. As we all know, Wendell is growing. Growth is good, but it brings change. Things like, how do we ensure roads, water systems, and infrastructure keep up? How do we balance small town charm with sensible development? How do we establish beautiful parks, connected sidewalks, and green space? I believe we solve these things, and whatever else gets thrown at us, with deep thought, hard work, humble conversation, and good faith in one another. At least that's what I plan on bringing to the table. Thank you for being here. My name is Wes Jones. I hope I can earn your vote.
How y'all doing? My name is BJ Barham. I'm running for one of the 3 empty seats here on the commission. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a proud resident of Wendell for the last 11 years. I'm a small business owner. I'm a touring professional musician. I've watched Wendell grow, almost quadruple its population in the last 10 years. Growth is inevitable. Progress is coming. No one's arguing that. There's ways to do it that I think are beneficial. One is to make sure we're keeping the folks that already live in Wendell a priority. Two is making sure that smart, sustainable growth is what we're doing. Not just growth for the sake of growth, but actually smart growth. And I'll explain that when I have more than a minute. And my last one is our historic downtown, local businesses, making sure we're prioritizing our local businesses. We have something that every town wants, which is that Main Street USA, and I want to see it revitalized a lot more than it has been. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Of course, I'm going to go right after the rock star. My name is Chris Kreitzer. I've been in East Wake County for about 11 years now. Approximately 8 of those have been in the Wendell area. Proud resident of the area. I've built 3 businesses and operated them for about 10 years now. So one of my priorities is going to be really focusing on downtown accessibility and growth of the small businesses within the community, as well as controlling and ensuring that growth in infrastructure keeps up with our population increase. Very proud to run for town commissioner. I want to thank the current board. I think there's only 2 of us up here that can really attest to the challenges that come with being in those seats, and we hope we can continue to fill those shoes and keep Wendell going in the right direction.
Hello everyone, I'm Jorge Cordova. I've been living in North Carolina most of my life, and my wife and I decided to put down roots in this great little town. And in our great state, you look around, everywhere you look, there's growth. Whether you choose to embrace it or not, it's not going to stop. I'm running a campaign on positivity. I'm running a campaign where if you plan correctly, you have the right tools in place, you have the right people in place, and execute properly. There's no reason for our town to lose the identity, to lose the reason why we come here, the reason why our town is a great place to be. And at the end of the day, that's all I ask for is you look around with the growth we have great new neighbors or residents. We have Wendell Falls, we have Anderson Farms, we have people that have come and bring that food traffic and bring that tax base that has allowed us to expand and start to improve our downtown area. We got a long way to go, but we're getting there. With the proper planning and execution, we can get it done.
Thank you, candidates. So next, we will start with our first question. And just as a reminder, you'll have 90 seconds for this question. And green means go, blue is you have 15 seconds, and red means finish your clock. And we'll let the next candidate get started. So our first question, what opportunities do you see to have citizens more engaged in the town's plans and discussions? So we'll start with Mr. Tarnowski.
I think I was town commissioner before. We had a little information as you drove into town. I told you what events were coming up. We got rid of that for some reason. We need to have some other way of informing people besides online. A lot of people are not connected, like my parents and things like that. They would like to know what's going on in town, different events. So we have 2 different places. I think coming in Wendell Falls and coming into town, the visual board that says, hey, this is what's going on, and maybe quarterly send out a little flyer to everyone. Hey, this is what our events are coming up. Because not everyone's informed. They're not like my kids are all connected. They always say I'm disconnected. So. But I'm from the old school, I like to do the old plan lines and stuff. So anyway, but those are my ideas. I'm talking to the staff and see what they can come up with. We have a really great staff. We have a lot of good ideas too. So thank you.
Thank you. So next is Mr. Barham.
In a world of red team, blue team politics, I think a lot of times local elections kind of get lost. I think that we think that we're voting on these big pictures, and the most important thing that's affecting our day-to-day life is what happens at those town hall meetings twice a month. I'll admit I was oblivious to it. I just trusted the fact that our elected officials were gonna make the best decisions possible for Wendell. And I started going to the meetings. I started realizing we have such an incredible town staff. Mark and the whole team over there is doing a fantastic job of bringing really great ideas to the table. I think what we need to do with those ideas is take those ideas, send them back to the drawing board a few times. They're bringing really great ideas. I encourage every citizen of Wendell to show up at those meetings. What is getting voted on is not just affecting your backyard, it's affecting your entire town. It's affecting your day-to-day life. So one of my goals would be to prioritize letting people know, instead of just a weekly Facebook post saying, hey, we're having a meeting tonight, encourage people, this is what's on the ballot. Really get it out there. This is what we're voting on. We're voting on that development coming up that's budding up to the back of your farm. We're voting on that infill project directly across from your house. The more, and not just sending on a note to the people that are 200 feet away, because that's all we have to do legally. I think what we need to do is make sure we have an informed electorate that's showing up all the time and holding our elected officials accountable. Because so far, that has not happened. And if I get into office, we will definitely change that. And we will be listening to the people of Wendell instead of just talking over them.
Thank you. So next, okay. Jorge knows that he's using his chip, so you have 30 seconds to add to the
I
comment.
wasn't gonna bring this up, but it's out there, and, look at the Wake Weekly, there was 124 residents in Wendell that were, charged for, incorrectly for stormwater bill. I got the wheel rolling, I spoke to Braxton, I gotta give him credit, he got in touch with the right people. We got 124 residents in this town that are getting their bill adjusted because of what I did. I'm working behind the scenes already for the people of Wendell. They're all aware. An email was sent out to the candidates. An email was sent out to the current commissioners, and you can verify I went ahead and did this. Normally I wouldn't talk about it, but you're right. I have to let it be known that this is another way I'm serving the community.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Is there any other candidate that would like to use a chip? Okay, Mr. Jones.
So I was at last night's town board meeting, and the town manager spent about an hour listing all of our recent successes. New elementary school design, downtown investment projects, construction for a new park, the list goes on. I think Wendell is winning. There's some room for some fresh blood on the board. Two folks aren't running again, and so I'd like to join in on the success. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So our second question.
Can I jump in? Or is there a limit on the number?
We were doing two.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. I
Andy,
apologize.
no, not.
Oh, no.
Yeah. keep
Okay,
going.
as many as
As
you
many
need
as-
to. Okay, I apologize. Go ahead, Mr. Eaton.
Okay.
We'll get this together.
I think this question is a really great opportunity to highlight two of many things that I think have been real big progress points on this topic in the last few years. One, in about 2022 or 2023, the town amended our UDO development process to require some of those early public input meetings that I know are a place where a lot of improvement happens in projects. But beyond that, nobody wants to come to a boring public meeting. That's our biggest challenge, to get somebody to come. So our town staff has really taken a lot of our public input opportunities out into the community to events that people are at anyway, for their own decision, and I want to continue that work.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
So civic engagement is a issue very dear to me. It's why I'm here. I believe that our citizens need to have more opportunities to stand up and use their voice, right? So I want to echo kind of what BJ was getting on in terms of making sure that those opportunities are clear and available to citizens to be able to stand up and find places where they can plug in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benson. And I know Roger said no, but I hate for somebody to have to lean over at a microphone, so if you do need to move it around, sorry.
I've heard too that the audio isn't.
It's still not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, please, if you want to move it so that you feel like it is at your height, please do that. So our second question, talk to us about your view on trust and transparency in local government. So again, 90 seconds, and we'll start with Mr. Barham.
promise I'll be done after this. Trust and transparency. I think that's one of the most important things between a local government and its constituents. I think that when you show up at all the doors we've knocked during the canvassing, our number one complaint is they don't listen to us. We show up at the meetings and they don't listen to us. Why don't you go to meetings is my next question. Why don't you continue to go to meetings and have your voice heard? They don't listen to us and our voice doesn't matter. And that crushes me when I hear a large majority of our community talking about my voice doesn't matter. I think trust and transparency with your local government is crucial. I think you should trust that when you go to bed at night, you think that those 5 people who are making the decisions are making the best decisions for you and your family. No one should ever leave a town hall meeting feeling talked down to. They should never be condescended. They should never be told, you don't know how this works, we do. That's a great idea. We're still going to vote for this. Planning committee unanimously voted it down. We're going to pass it through. That's a problem. I think that the more that we hold ourselves accountable to the people that are voting for us, I think the more we see people showing up for these meetings. Everybody talks about, oh, they're boring meetings. And yeah, I've been to a few. I've missed 3 meetings this year. Some of them are boring. But the big thing is showing up and having your voice heard and not being sent away, feeling like you don't matter. That's a problem.
Thank you so much. Next, to answer our question is Dustin.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like I need an introduction, but all right. So, what is government? The way I look at government is it's all of us collectively getting together to make decisions about what we want our town to look like and how we want to build a community. I think too often we look at the government as a distant body. These people who are up in Washington or in Raleigh or down at town hall. I think it's understandable that at the federal and state levels, because those governments are much more distant from us, that's a lot of times how we feel. But here at the local level, we're all, the people in this room, we're all Wendellians, we're neighbors. We're involved. We're the people who make this town and make things happen. My thing is, we ought to be, if whoever is elected, we're your neighbor and we're available. At least that's my intention. If you want to call me, my number's on everything I hand out. It's on my website. It's going to be on the town website when I get elected. Same thing for my email address. And I'll never promise that I'm going to do exactly what you asked me to do, because there are now over 17,000 people in Wendell with all kinds of different ideas. But I will listen. And I think the government, at the end of the day, that's how we arrive at decisions. We gather the data from the experts and from the people that decisions impact, and then we come to what we think is the best future for our town.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. We're still getting some comments that it's hard to hear. I'm wondering if y'all would be okay, and I'll help you with the microphone. If you take the microphone off and turn it on when you're getting ready to speak, and just turn it off and put it down after. Would that work? So that everybody, okay. Does anybody need to, it's just a simple button, so you'll be able to see it on the side. Okay. Next, anybody want to use a chip to add on to that question? And again, you'll have 30 seconds. Mr. Eden, great. So yeah, you can pull that off. It's off already.
The mayor would laugh and say she's not surprised that I'm already speaking twice. But I think this is a great opportunity to mention, my biggest perspective on transparency and trust is listening, as Dustin has said, and then being honest with people. We can't all agree all the time. It's not going to happen. My wife and I don't agree all the time, and we still find a lot of ways to get along. And so being clear with folks, telling them where you agree, telling them where you don't, and explaining why, that's always going to be my priority when it comes to ensuring that we build trust collaboratively as a team.
Thank you, Mr. Eatman. Anybody else? Great, okay. We will move on to our third question. How do you think we can best preserve our historic downtown? And so for the first 90 seconds, Mr. Ingalls, you have the floor.
So,
Just-
oh, you do have to, okay. So, as I mentioned, I moved here 4 years ago. I bought a house downtown, well, just east of downtown on 3rd Street. And the day I looked at my house, I ended up, it was just before lunch, and I decided, let's go downtown, let's have some lunch. So I sat down, had a meal at what is now Ashtonville, and started looking around, and I was like, man, this is a cute little downtown. I hadn't really spent much time in Wendell until that day, but I love that it was all local businesses. There were no chains in sight. And I knew that this was a place that I could call home, and that I could definitely find myself spending a long time in. So I put in an offer, and here I am. And one of the things I love about where I live is that I can walk downtown. And I look at a lot of other small downtowns in America, and some of them have started to revitalize in the years following COVID because people are, settling further out from city centers and starting businesses. But you look at a lot of small towns and they're crumbling and they're losing population. They're getting boarded up because you don't have the investment that you need to maintain the history. So our growth is in some ways necessary, and I want to grow the downtown improvement grant budget so that we can give even more money to businesses that want to start new restaurants, shops, and other small business entertainment venues so that people have more things to do and we maintain that history.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. Next is Mr. Cordova.
Flip it out of
I think it might be on.
I left
Good.
Here.
What he had to say was excellent. I was approaching this question more in a contractor point of view. I was thinking, how do we preserve our historic downtown? Like hopefully there's been some proactive maintenance in the building, and we can do an assessment and then see what needs to be repaired. But anyway, in a way, I guess you can apply that to our town. See what needs to be done. We've got some great buildings that are not being used. We can look for grants, we can look for incentives to say, we can use this building, you can go ahead and retrofit things into it. There's no reason for us to lose the beauty of what is our historic downtown if we're able to do it the right way. That's what we're gonna have.
Thank you, Mr. Cordova. Now, are there any candidates that would like to use the chip?
There we go. Okay, awesome. I think one of the biggest things that we can do to preserve and to revitalize our downtown area is to enhance the connectivity, make it a little bit more accessible for people to get to, right? Ensure that people are able to walk downtown safely, ensure that people are able to access our sidewalks safely, regardless of ability, regardless of, able to use the stairs or whatever. There's my sign.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Benson. Is there anybody else that would like to use a chip? Okay. Okay.
I got him. I got to use him.
Okay, go ahead.
Instead of saying anything crazy or negative, I just want to shout out the current downtown businesses that are absolutely crushing it. Parallax Coffee, Ashendale, Sip and Shop. I've lived downtown for 11 years. I can walk to those places. It's amazing to be able to just walk there. Amazing owners, amazing shop. I think most of them are getting ready to celebrate a year, if not have already celebrated a year, and more of that is what we need.
Sorry, I just can't wait for this.
That's good. Thank you, Mr. Roll. Anybody else? Mr. Eaton?
I think a little bit of my theme tonight will be here's some of the cool things we're doing, but in downtown we have an ADA transition plan that we've been investing in for the last several years to bring our downtown up to those accessibility standards that people expect. We have an awesome downtown streetscape plan that's just been adopted and we have budgeted for its first phase this year. We have a downtown building upfit grant that we give money to downtown business owners to improve their properties that's unprecedented in size to my awareness in the triangle. And we've begun connecting property owners with the historic preservation tax credits that are available to them, especially in those historic buildings downtown.
Thanks so much. Anybody else?
I just want. I just want to kind of echo what Mr. Eatman had said, that when I first came to Wendell, the downtown area was still a lot of boarded up, underutilized buildings, and since then it has made tremendous growth. As a former downtown business owner, I can attest that the town staff and the board was really welcoming of businesses. I'd like to, if elected, continue to make that happen and find ways to attract even more businesses. Because I do appreciate that the downtown, or the Blueprint 2030 does recognize that we'd like to keep investment within the downtown core.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pritzker. Anybody else? Great. We'll move on to our fourth question. How should Wendell address housing affordability while managing growth responsibly? So again, 90 seconds. We'll start with Mr. Eden.
All right, thank you. Housing affordability is probably one of the biggest issues in our country, certainly in Wake County. And while Wendell's doing better than a lot of our neighbors, we still don't have housing that meets sort of the base expectations and needs that people have. An average family in Wendell today, if they were going to go buy a mortgage, sort of at today's rates, could afford something like a $250,000 home. I don't know if you've looked at homes in Wendell recently, but there aren't any $250,000 homes. There are two things in my mind that we can do to address that. First is work on partnerships like Habitat for Humanity nonprofit programs. Last year, for the first time, the town donated land to initiate a partnership with Habitat for Humanity to build affordable homes for families in our downtown. It's going to be connected to a greenway and a park, and it's going to be an awesome addition. I hope that you will look for opportunities to sign up to work on some of those projects on the break ground later this year, next year, sometime the next year. But we can't fix housing affordability that way. It's just not at a scale. So the other thing we can do is build homes. We have to have more houses. It's supply and demand, it's the market. And so that's all types of houses. I believe we need more of all types of houses in Wendell today. And so that means working closely with the folks who build homes to ensure that the homes that they want to build in our community fit the plans that we've set out for our town, are connected, and are something that people can continue to find a way to live in. One thing people ask sometimes is, are you sure that a new house, especially an expensive one, helps affordable housing? People move into those homes for more affordable housing. That's part of the market. It's supply and demand.
Thank you, Mr. Eatman. The second candidate is Ms. Benson.
Okay, so this is a loaded question. I don't think anybody up here is opposed to any sort of growth in the town. We know it's happening. It's inevitable, right? But the way that we grow is going to impact affordability, lifestyle, all of the things that make Wendell so wonderful. So that's why we need to do that in a smart way, right? Housing affordability isn't just about the price tag on the home. It's about the taxes. It's about the things that are going into, being able to afford rent, things like that. So I think it kind of is at the core of making sure that our cost of living is in an appropriate range. Wendell has some of the highest property tax rates in Wake County. And that's a problem. I think we need to make sure that we're building the types of houses that fit for affordable housing. The $500,000 townhomes is not cutting it. But then we also need to be a little bit smarter about making sure that our developers and the ones that are putting these houses up are doing their fair share in making sure that our infrastructure is not being put on the backs of taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benson. Would anybody like to comment? Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Just gotta make a quick lawyer point. I know impact fees come up a lot. Just so people know, in order to change that, North Carolina Reorganization Land Use Development Law, Municipal Fee Statute, and there's a Supreme Court case from 2018 called Quality Built Homes Inc. versus Town of Carthage. All these do not allow impact fees on new development. So it's a subject that all of you want to discuss, but ultimately you'd have to change something in the Supreme Court, legislate for new laws. So we'd have to do something else than that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Ingles?
So I want to reiterate what Dean said, that we don't yet have enough houses. We're definitely working on that. We're moving, I think, in the right direction to accommodate the people who want to live here and boost the housing supply in order to keep prices as low as we possibly can for people who are just trying to start a family. One cool thing, though, that I'm looking forward to, that all of us in this room and everyone out there in the town can get involved in next year, is we're going to be updating the Unified Development Ordinance, which is basically the codification of our zoning and what we can build where, and that'll be updated for the first time since, I think, 2008. And
Thank you, Mr. Ingles.
oh,
That's okay.
you can't talk about a UDO in 30 seconds.
Any other chips? Yes, Mr. Karnowski.
My thought on that is I have 6 children, and I noticed when they get out of college, we already have a 55 older type community. It was something I was shooting around. I don't know what's legal or what's, what we can do, but I talked to the mayor even about it. He said, what about a 35 and under community? You have like not really a tiny house community, but something in the $200,000 to $250,000 range where they can afford it and start their family here, and then move up to the next level after that. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other chips? Yes, Mr. Cordova.
I don't want to say this, we have to be careful of how we try to bring affordable housing to our community. We can artificially keep prices down, but that will not stop that homeowner for living there for maybe 2 or 3 years and selling that house at a profit, and then we're back to square one. So that's a lot of things to consider before we start talking about affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any last chips? Great, we'll move on to our 5th question. What should Wendell do to ensure that emergency services, schools, infrastructure, parks, and other public services keep up with our continued growth? So 90 seconds to Mr. Cordova.
Just stay up there.
Okay. We definitely need to make sure that we have proper communication with Wake County, with the state. We need to, as we grow, we need to make sure we have enough stuff in place for not only public schools or our teachers. One big issue for me is, as we grow, we're going to continue to grow. We're going to need more, emergency service, EMS, firefighters, and so forth. Not to be doom and gloom, but I don't know if you guys are aware that a modern home burns a lot. I think it's about 7 minutes faster than an old house. Therefore, we need emergency services to be readily available because people have less time to get out of the house, God forbid. With that being said, I think at this point we need to ask our developers to, donate or let us use a plot of land with incentives to build a hub or a substation for EMS, for firefighters, and that way we can go ahead and be proactive with what we need in the community as we grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Chrysler.
Thank you, and I'm going to piggyback off some of the things Mr. Cordova said. This topic's pretty important to me, that fire and EMS was a background that helped kickstart my career in healthcare. It's a common theme tonight that the population is growing. I think one of our highest priorities needs to be making sure that public safety increases with that. And I think the start to that is responsible data-driven planning, meaning that development approvals, tying this directly into development approvals, and that if a project doesn't support the current capacity to serve fire, police, EMS, and the school system, that plan should be tabled or relooked at until we can ensure that those capacities can be met. Second, I believe we must strengthen our partnerships. The town is not responsible for schools, it's not responsible for hiring teachers, or even the EMS service, but we can increase our relationships with Wayne County, and in Raleigh, and NCDOT with our state representatives to ensure that we're not backpedaling after developments are done, and trying to fix roads and make sure the infrastructure meets our planned development. The growth should pay for the growth, and it shouldn't fall on the backs of our taxpayers. And we must also ensure that expanding public-private partnerships to accelerate infrastructure, parks, and public amenities without raising our taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kreitzer. Now it's time if anybody would like to comment, use a chip. Mr. Jones?
I agree with both of my colleagues that it is important to have a strong relationship with the state. A lot of our projects are state and town partnerships. So I work at the House of Representatives. I'm an attorney there. I frequently deal with agencies. That's one thing. If you give me a commissioner, you'll get someone who kind of knows how these agencies works and can be a strong liaison. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other chips? Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
So we aren't responsible for schools, but one of the things that's related to housing that I want to see us do is, as a product of our growth, we're already getting more schools, but in the future, obviously, we'll be getting even more schools than we've even now planned for. And when we're planning for those schools, I would love to see mixed-use development on the same property. There's a development in Southeast Raleigh on Rockroy Road, Southeast Raleigh Promise, built that has a elementary school Y and a bank and housing the same thing. I want to see a similar thing in Wendell.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. Any other chips? Go ahead, Ms. Benson.
I totally forgot the question walking up here. Sorry. Yes, that's where I was going to go with it. Hold on. It's probably my 30 seconds. I'm not a professional politician, so I'm just going to speak from the heart here. It concerns me greatly how taxed our infrastructure is, whether it's schools, roads, EMS and fire capabilities. So I really do think that we need to do better on building that up, building that into our plans, being comfortable with saying, hold on, let's figure out how this fits into the plan if we don't see it when we're being proposed it.
Thank you. Any others? Great, okay. We're on to our sixth question. What skills or experiences do you have that will make you an effective commissioner for the town of Wendell? And we'll start with Ms. Benson.
Wait, I forgot the question. I'm just kidding. I have spent about 15 years of my career in the advertising, branding, and marketing field. That is not on paper very equatable to what a town commissioner would do, right? I'm not on the Hill every day, those types of things. But probably the most important things that I've learned in my career is the ability to listen and also the ability to understand what means the most to somebody, right? I'll give you an example. I started out at an advertising agency, and you learn so much about very niche topics, but those are the most important things to those clients, right? I could tell you anything you want to know about turf and ornamental fungicide, or lowland flood insurance for building companies. But those things come to me from my clients, and they come to me with a problem and say, hey, how do we brand this? How do we make somebody care about this? And so I kind of equate it to being a commissioner. I listen, I absorb, and then I problem solve. And really, I've heard it all, right, in marketing. So whatever comes to the desk, whatever comes in front of me at town hall, it's totally fine. And I want to make sure Wendell is a place where people feel their voice is heard, and everyone is able to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Benson. Next is Mr. Jones.
So, surprise, surprise, I'm going to talk about my legal background. So, I think, law will come in use in this position. The board regularly deals with regulations, statutes, laws, codes. There's a whole statute that just deals with towns. That's 160D in the North Carolina General Statutes. So having a background in things like that, property law, construction law, business and contract law, all these things regularly come before the town board. So I think that will help me in this role, get up to speed quickly. I touch these topics while in private practice. I did litigation for all sorts of different clients involving business, contract, construction law. I also worked on cases at the Court of Appeals. It's funny, I kept getting zoning cases, zoning case. I was like, why am I getting so many zoning cases? Well, now maybe it's fortuitous that if there's ever a zoning issue, I can be the one to speak to it. So those are some of the things that I bring. My current role in government, I mentioned, I think it's helpful just to understand how government works. And to go to the third point, leadership. I've led statewide organizations. I'm general counsel to a handful of volunteer organizations. I like to serve. I was president of my law school. I'm just someone that, other people have cool hobbies like golf and garden club. I like fixing problems and being active and joining every club in town, like Rotary, Chamber of Commerce. I just want to be part of my community and help however I can. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Are there any candidates that would like to add to that? Go ahead.
I feel like my construction experience could help out. I travel up and down the state. I've been as far as Pinehurst, Southern Pines, North Gilead, Livingston. I see where a lot of these towns have done right. You can see where a lot of these towns have done wrong. And we can learn from that. I speak to people, and they tell me they wish we would have had more mixed use, land. You get all these feedback from people. And I do quality control here in Wendell Falls, in Clayton, Anderson Farms, and I'm also able to keep an eye out to see how we're progressing, what we could have done differently, and that experience will make me an asset to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Ingalls.
So I work in my day job, work for the Environmental Defense Fund, and that's the last 3 years, and then 4.5 years before that, North Carolina League of Conservation Voters, and I've spent most of my career either in environmental advocacy or working in political spheres, and I've developed relationships with elected officials and policy experts, not only here in Wake County, but across the state and across the country, and I would love to bring those relationships, particularly expertise of folks involved in things like housing affordability, to bear on serving Wendell so that we can learn from other folks' mistakes and also the great ideas that other folks have.
Thank you. Any other tips? Thank you, Mr. Brown.
For the last 20 years, like I said, I've been a touring musician, been in 49 states, 23 countries. I'm a people person. That's what I get paid for. I get paid to talk to people, read people, communicate with people. A lot of people think communicating with people is talking. That is not communicating. Listening is the biggest part of communication. That's one of my biggest attributes, is listening to people, and that's what I intend to do for the people of Wendell when I'm elected your commissioner.
Thank you. Any others? Mr. Wheaton?
This is an election that Wendell hasn't had the opportunity to have in my memory. We're going to have at least 2 new town commissioners on our board. I am the one candidate who served on our board, and we are just a 5-member board. So I think that the proven track record I have of showing up, being invested in our community, building relationships with other partners at other levels of government, our business community, citizens, I feel like I have a great track record, and I'm excited for at least 2 new additions to our board.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kreisler?
So I have not served in a government role before, but I can bring experience of being on the receiving end of painful land use review board meetings, zoning meetings, when starting businesses, making builds and projects. And I feel like I can attest to my experience through there, some struggles that small business owners face, and utilizing that to make the process easier as we try to bring in new attractions and new businesses into the Wendell area.
Thank you so much. Any others? Okay, almost everybody spoke. Okay. We're on to our 7th question. What strategies should our town implement to attract new businesses and retain existing ones? So again, 90 seconds, and we'll start with Mr. Jones.
Thank you for the question. I think the first thing the town needs to do to attract new businesses is to have predictability and stability. Business loves predictability. I think being clear in how we communicate, having a board that follows the rules, that is competent, that sticks to the plan they've already set out. I think these are things that give business a lot of hope and make them want to move here. We've done a great job so far of attracting businesses. We're in the fruits of the success of that. I think that keeping taxes low is helpful, and as more folks come in, you don't have to increase taxes because you have a larger tax base. And as more businesses come in, you don't have to increase taxes. So keeping taxes low, keeping regulation low, making it easy to start a business. We really do need to be a town that champions the small business owners. I've heard at many campaign doors that people want more local restaurants. I think that looks like going to people who are already doing very well, somewhere in this room, great restaurateurs, and asking them to maybe open up a couple more restaurants. I think we retain people by having a town you want to live in, by having amazing parks, by having clean streets, by having quality infrastructure, and creating the employees you need to run your business. So a healthy town is a business-friendly town. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Eaton.
Well, since this is a chamber forum, I think I'm supposed to start by saying we work really closely with our Chamber of Commerce. And we do have a great chamber. We have a great business community in our town. And so I think starting with retention, but listening to those businesses, listening to their representatives about what they need from us, and working really collaboratively to ensure that those plans that we've talked about, that we are always pursuing and finding ways to deliver, devoting our resources toward advancing, make sure those plans are informed by the needs of our business community, but also the needs of our regional business community and outside business interests. So we've spent a lot of time planning for opportunities for growth for new businesses. We've prioritized locations in our town where we know that mixed-use development will be appropriate and supported by the infrastructure that's already in place, so that businesses who come can also have customers who can shop there. Rooftops and new business really go hand in hand in a lot of ways. And so I think that we've got a great track record of growing business. We cannot just be a residential community. People need to be able to do a lot more than just come home to Wendell and sleep at night. They need to be able to work here. They need to be able to shop here. They need to be able to eat here. And having the commercial side, the business side of our tax base and of our community's development is crucial for that. So planning for it is, I think, the biggest thing that we can do to ensure that commercial development comes here, sees us as an attractive home.
Thank you so much. Any candidates that would like to use a chip? Mr. Ingalls? How many chips have you used, Mr. Ingalls? Okay. Just teasing.
Except for my conclusion, you won't hear from me again. So I started talking earlier about the Downtown Improvement Grant, and I serve on the Downtown Development Committee. I thank current members of the town board for appointing me to that 3 years ago and reappointing me last year, and or was it this year, whatever it was. And the first thing that we did was help to guide the social district, which has been a great boon to downtown businesses. And with the downtown improvement grant, as I mentioned earlier, I want to grow that so that, you know, the upfront cost to renovate these downtown buildings that didn't have commercial kitchens in them is extraordinary. And we've got to help them do it.
Thank you so much. Any other tips? Great, okay. We are on our final question. So how can we balance the need for increased revenue with the desire to keep tax burdens low for residents? So our first 90 seconds will be Mr. Kreitzler.
Of course, I would pull the tax question. So, you know, this is a very sensitive issue. I'm sure no one likes their taxes to be increased, even when the town of Wendell, compared to your annual tax bill, is just a small sliver of it. And it's a necessary item. We have to pay taxes to ensure that our public safety is met, and town utilities are kept up, roads are maintained that are covered by the town. But I think private-public partnerships will be crucial as we're getting ready, we're working on the big commerce center. We're going to have some much bigger heavy hitter taxpayers in town soon. So utilizing those resources to help fund our tax base, I believe, will be crucial. And keeping the impact to the private homeowners and citizens minimal. So that's what I have to say about taxes.
Great, thank you so much. Mr. Tarnowski.
I have some ideas about taxes, I don't like any of them, but my thoughts were looking into everything, making sure we aren't spending what we're not supposed to spend, wasting money, finding ways like places I travel, I do a lot of traveling, like in Charleston, maybe attract more retired people. They cut like $50,000 off the value of their homes, so it makes their taxes cheaper, have more people move here to retire, and with those people here, they'll eat more and spend more time in Wendell and do things. So it's just one way of attracting people here like we're doing in the Charleston area and stuff. So I'm looking at other ideas besides just more and more taxes, and maybe do we have to go along every 2 years and raise taxes like the county that's coming up or whatever. So anyway, just looking away at cutting taxes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any tips left? Okay. Well, that was our last question. So now we're going to be moving into our closing statements. And just a reminder, you have 2 minutes for your closing statements. Same with the lights, blue is 15 seconds. So we start with Mr. Jones.
Wendell is a beautiful, charming, vibrant town. In fact, it's so incredible that people are beating down the door to live here. Who wouldn't? We're 20 minutes from downtown. We're a place you can actually buy a home in, which is a modern miracle. We have amazing people. We have a lovely community. Wake County has grown north, it's grown south, it's grown west, it's coming east. The question is not will we grow, it's how will we manage it. And more importantly, will we elect competent, committed, calm leaders who will do the hard work day in and day out. I'm not here running on grievance. I'm not running for attention. I'm running to help navigate complex problems in the town I love. I want to keep Wendell safe, thriving, and beautiful. A vote for me is a vote for an infrastructure advocate with Raleigh. It's a vote for well-supported police, fire, and EMS. It's a vote for supporting small businesses and local restaurants, investing into our downtown, and being a self-sufficient town. I was talking to someone and they said they have to go to Nightdale to go to CVS or Walgreens for a prescription. We need to have those things that give you a quality of life here. A vote for me is a vote for neighborhood parks, youth sports, adult recreation, and a walkable town. If you think Wendell's best days are ahead of us, I do too. And I invite you to join me in making that a reality. I thank you for being here. God bless, and remember to vote yes for West November 4th. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Mr. Barr.
I'm from a small little tobacco farming town, about an hour and a half west of here, called Reedsville, North Carolina. Little town, about 4,000 people. If I'd have stuck around Reedsville, I'd have been a 7th generation tobacco farmer. I got the bright idea to go to NC State University, study political science and history. If you're wondering what you can do with political science and history, traveling musicians. I lived in Raleigh for 12 years, 13 years. And then me and my wife drove out to Wendell, North Carolina to look at a house in the historic district. I was like, Wendell's got to be like an hour from here. So we drove 15 minutes and we found our house, and I was like, it was the closest thing I'd ever seen to my hometown. Driving from 287 up, it was just tobacco fields. It was animals. It was everything, the idyllic small town that I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to raise my family in. And I moved here and watched it change. I know all of y'all have watched it change. It's going to keep changing. A lot of my opponents say I'm the anti-growth candidate. I'm against growth. I'm not against growth. It's coming. It's inevitable. I'm against certain types of growth. I want to listen to the people that currently live here instead of just planning for the people we hope to move here in 10 to 15 years. I want to listen to you, the current people that are paying taxes, the current people that are getting stuck on Wendell Boulevard for 20 minutes every day, sitting in traffic. There's 3 ways I want to do that. First way, a local government that listens to its current residents. That's the most important part that I'm running on. Number 2, a thoughtful, smart growth plan. Thousands of homes have already been approved. Townhomes, apartments, they're getting built. The land that you see there, we got plenty of land left. That's spoken for, friends. There's towns and apartments coming. We got growth all the way through 2028. My 3rd plan, local businesses, lifebloods of towns like ours. We need to support the local businesses and reinvest in our downtown. My name is BJ Barham. I'm running for Town Commissioner of Wendell, and I would love your vote on November 4th.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kreitzer.
All right. Well, I see a lot of familiar faces out here tonight, and I do appreciate everyone coming in. Roger putting this on. Those that do know me know I'm not one of many words. I usually try to keep it short, and I try to focus more on just getting things done and making action on what I say I'm going to do. And if elected, that's exactly what I'll do. Is putting my head down, getting the work done, and making sure that the goals of the town are achieved. We have an excellent town staff, and last night, sitting at the meeting, was one of the less boring meetings, as has been pointed out, even though Mr. Collins spoke for an hour, and it was really intriguing to listen to some of the accomplishments that he has, and the town has achieved for the strategic 2025 plan. A lot of good things are coming to Wendell. I'd like to continue to see the proper direction of this town. As I mentioned when I came here, it was a lot of boarded up shops downtown. I remember 41 North Coffee Cane was one of the first places coming downtown. I no longer could go get my lawnmower worked on because Beer to Be took over that spot, and that was a really great addition to town. And to continue to see things like that come to town is great. Yes, the additional rooftops, traffic is taxing and frustrating. There's no stopping it. But just ensuring that we have everything in place as we do grow is going to be really important to me. And I'll do everything we can to make sure that we continue moving in the right direction.
Thank you so much. Mr. Cordova.
I just want to say, I think you stole my speech. But seriously, folks, I just want to say, look, come to the U.S. Our father, our husband, to live over there. A citizen that believes it's important to give back to the community. This is why I want to get involved. Like I mentioned earlier, I travel up and down the state. I see again towns like Pinehurst, Livingston, Fuquay. I see what they're doing and what they have done in their downtown area. And frankly, I'm a bit jealous. I want that for us. I want that for us. You guys ever get a chance, go out there and check it out. It's amazing what they're doing out there. And we can learn from that. Like I said, I ask questions. I like to just bring back positive vibe here. I mean, I'm running a campaign on positivity. We have to embrace the change we're going through, the growth we're going through. It's not going to stop. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, we cannot be stagnant and let everybody else around us keep going and moving forward. We need to come up again with the proper plans, the proper tools in place. Talk, communicate with our neighbors, communicate with the current staff we have in charge. I've been talking to them. I met with them. I sat with them. I had shared a dream. We shared ideas. I've done that with most of the people that are running, and that is just the way we move forward. And we represent the town. We do not have to lose our identity. We do not have to lose again the great things that brought us here. Yes, there are growing pains, but look what the growth has brought us. Look at downtown. Look at Wendell. We got great places now to eat. Farmhouse. You got a Pilates studio that my wife goes to. You got all these great things. And look at our downtown area. Yes, we lost a great establishment like the Whistle Stop, but now we got a kick-ass place to eat. We got the Sipping Shop. We got Ashland Bill. Of course, the Beer to Be, Orbeez and Petey's. We got a butcher shop. How can you not be excited about having a butcher shop and you can walk to? Yes. And I said we lost the Whistle Stop, but we gave this awesome little bar, Cat Daddy's, with it's just such a rock and roll kind of place. And this is what I love. This is what I love about Wendell, and this is what I want to be involved with. This is what you guys know me. A lot of you. I see a lot of familiar faces.
Appreciate it.
I was just warming up.
Mr. Ingalls.
So we can't add our chips to the timeline. Irrelevant for me, but first of all, I want to thank Roger and Caleb and Christian and Andy and everyone else at the Chamber and Wake Tech who put this forum together. I want to thank everyone who is watching online and everyone who's here, who's listened and in order to make a smarter decision in this election. My fellow candidates who are very worthy opponents, making me very nervous. So at the end of the day, and I also want to thank Commissioner Joyner and Commissioner Lutz for giving us a little bit of an opportunity to maybe step up into leadership by stepping aside. So at the end of the day, we all want what's best for our town. We just have a little bit different ideas about how to get there. Wendell is the fastest growing town in North Carolina, give or take, at a different time, but generally we're right up there with it, with a few other towns. But we're not the first town to ever grow. Some have done it well, some haven't. I want to learn from the mistakes that those other towns have made and listen to our people and the experts on our town planning staff to make sure that we manage that growth well. I want Wendell to be more than a bedroom community, but a self-contained town where more people can not just live, but work and shop and play and do business. Instead of having to drive to Raleigh or Nightdale for the CVS or Clayton, I want to welcome new neighbors who will one day be our long-timers. We need more houses for those new neighbors, houses of different types and at different price points. But we also need more employers, so more people can work here and not just live here. We need more restaurants, particularly downtown, more entertainment venues so people have more things to do. And we need to design our town so housing is located as close to those amenities as we can. That means we're not creating more traffic on our major roads. It means more people can walk and bike and ride their golf carts to the things they want to do. It also means we save more land and trees and protect our watersheds. As an environmental advocate, that's very important to me. So I think that's how you build a community, not with a wall around it, but with our arms around each other. And on November 4th, I hope you'll give me one of your 3 votes.
Thank you so much. Ms. Benson.
All right, I just want to take a couple seconds of my 2 minutes to just remind folks. I think it was about a year and a half ago, we did have a pharmacy in Wendell. It's a little small town pharmacy, family owned, Wendell Drug, and they left Wendell. So we used to have a pharmacy, but now we have to drive to Nightdale to go to CVS. Anyway, so the core of being a commissioner and the core of public service is the public, right? If we lose sight of the public, then we've kind of lost the plot, right? I see a lot of people using their voice and it's not heard. That's a problem. My goal in being commissioner is to be that voice for you, is to be a welcome and accessible sounding board for what's working for you, what's not. Wendell belongs to more than just the people who are making the decisions. Wendell belongs to all of us. Whether you're in Wendell Falls or you're in downtown, we have the same zip code. Not everybody can vote, but we're all Wendellians. And I think that's really important for us to remember, especially in this time of such division, that Wendell is so special because we have Wendell, right? So, November 4th, you've got 2 weeks until Election Day. Early voting starts on the 16th. I would really encourage you to continue to become informed voters, continue to do your work, do your research, things like that. And remember, Kate's great for Wendell.
Thank you, Ms. Benson. Mr. Eatman.
Well, I'll echo everybody else in thanking all of you for being here, first of all, and for being engaged in our town. 4 years ago when I signed up to be more engaged in our town and run for our board, I said that I really wanted to do 3 things. I wanted to focus on making investments to keep up with growth in our staff, our town staff, in our infrastructure, and in our quality of life. And I feel like over the last 4 years, I've delivered on, and our town has delivered on, all of those priorities. To be fair, a lot of them were in process before I got there, and I've been really happy to be able to be a part of the work since then. But we've made big investments in our parks. We've got a greenway that's going to be breaking ground in the next year that we don't have a greenway right now. The Carver Community Center groundbreaking yesterday. If you're not aware of that project, please read about it. It's a model for the country. We've been telling people about it all over the country. And 2023, we passed a bond referendum that our town has not had at that scale in any time in recent history. And so I really believe in making investments today to match the growth that we're facing and ensure that everybody can continue to enjoy living in Wendell, and that Wendell can provide all that people need when they live here. I like what's been going on in Wendell for the last decade. A vote for me in a lot of ways. I've got a record to point to. It's a vote to continue a lot of what's been going on. I think it's a vote to keep a good thing going. And it's interesting, despite the fact that our board, I think, is united in a lot of the things that we do, we don't always agree on everything at all. But one thing that we do is discuss issues, really debate them, talk about, find the common ground, the shared priorities that we have as a group, but also that we feel our community has. We all know different people, we hear from different people. And so we try to bring those things together. But at the end of the day, we all pull for Wendell together. And so I'm going to keep pulling for Wendell. I hope that you will. I'd love to have your vote on November 4th, just like everybody else up here. You do get 3, so I only need 1 of them. I'm proud of my record. I believe in Wendell, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Tarnowski.
I want to say thanks for everyone being here tonight and listening to all the candidates and taking into consideration voting for me. Living here 45 years and growing up here, not a better town to grow up in. It's an awesome place. I have 6 children, 4 grandchildren. I don't ever plan on leaving Wendell. I'm hoping to find housing for them that they can afford here and grow up and stay here and be part of this great town. My message is simple. I want to be your voice and make sure your voices are heard. I'm not a politician. I'm just concerned for the residents of Wendell, as before, and I'm sure everyone is. I'm not afraid of change, but I want to make sure it goes the right way, and that's why I'm running again, so I'll be the voice for people, so let me know if you have any concerns, and vote for Phil November 4th. Thank you.
So everybody join me in a round of applause. That was some pent-up applause, wasn't it? Thank you so much to the candidates. Thank you again to our hosts. Wake Tech, and thank you to the Government Affairs Committee. And several of the candidates said it, but it should be said again. Early voting is starting Thursday, this Thursday. There are 4 early voting sites throughout Wake County. The closest to Wendell is actually at the Wake County Board of Elections office in Raleigh. And then election day is on the 4th. So either way, please make sure that you vote. And if you need more information, I would also point you to the Wake County Board of Elections as a really good resource for you. And we're ahead of schedule, so if y'all will just indulge me for one last get out the vote call. It's an inspiring quote from the late Congressman John Lewis, and I hope that it reminds all of us of the immense power we hold in shaping our future through voting, and every vote matters. So this is the quote. "The vote is precious. It is the most powerful, nonviolent tool we have in a democratic society, and we must use it." So again, thank you all for being here, and be safe getting home.